Good afternoon, everybody. How you guys doing? It's time for the Geno talk. It's time for another Geno Smith conversation because, what else is going on with this team, right? What else is as fun as this Geno Smith stuff? Defense isn't very fun right now. Rashad Penny breaking his ankle. That's not fun. Tyler Lockett's fun. DK Metcalf is fun. Cross and Lucas, Tariq Woolen, they're fun, but nothing's more fun than Geno Smith. And a couple days ago, I posted a video laying out what I suspect would be the cost of keeping Geno Smith around past 2022. If you want to make him a Seahawk beyond this season, I think it would cost a lot of money over a long period of time, but not top money. All right? If he keeps it up the way that he's been playing so far, it would cost a lot of money. It would cost a long-term commitment, but it wouldn't be top money. So let's theorize where we might land, and let's talk about whether or not it's good. We've kind of gone through the process of discussing what the amount would be, but let's talk about whether or not we should do it. And there's no real right or wrong answer here at this point, I don't think. I think both sides have a lot of merit. But I want to present a couple different angles here. So we get to the end of the season, and Geno Smith has approximately this stat line that I have on the screen. It's pretty close to what he's on pace to do. There's a little bit of a fall off, mostly because the weather's going to get a little worse. And we generally see quarterback stats and offensive output drop off a tiny bit just because the weather starts to get bad. Geno plays his home games in an open-air stadium. He's going to have to go into Arrowhead late in the season. There are a couple other open-air stadiums we're going to where the weather's going to affect. I don't think he's going to be able to put up these kinds of video game numbers all year, but he'll get close. So 70% completion, which is, he's currently at 75%. 70% would still be one of the 10 best seasons all time. 4,200 passing yards, 250 rushing yards, 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 8.1 yards per attempt, 30 sacks taken, QB rating of 107.7. That's the numbers that I'm saying he ends up with, mostly based off projection with a little bit of guesswork. And I'm going to say after this season, if he plays all 17 games and comes up with this stat line, the contract that you will need to offer him, I'm going to throw it out, 4 years, $104 million. So $26 million a year, 4 years, probably a relatively easy out after 3. So it's a 3-year commitment to Geno Smith. So you're not going to pay him top money. You're going to pay him about half of top money. Because we get to next offseason, you're going to probably see a quarterback, Joe Burrow is the most likely one, to get about $52 million a year. That's just the way this stuff works. So Geno doesn't get that, but he gets half that. And there's some wisdom here. It's certainly not a bad idea. I can see where the Seahawks could be doing that and be thinking, this is how we get back to the top. The idea is pretty simple. You have a quarterback who is not among the best in the league. He's not an MVP quarterback, but he's not that far away. He's probably top 10. He's not top 5. He lives somewhere in there. He's good. He's efficient. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's accurate. He's smart. But he doesn't put up the big-time numbers of some of what the top guys are capable of. He doesn't have it in him to have 45 to 50 touchdowns the way Pat Mahomes can do or an Aaron Rodgers can do. But he's really good. So instead of chasing the super elite quarterback or trying to get by with the dirt cheap game manager, you're kind of in the middle. You have a really good but not great quarterback, and you're still saving money, right? Because the top quarterbacks cost almost double that. You can turn around, spend that $25 million savings on other stuff. It's kind of what the Rams did last year with Matt Stafford, right? Now, Matt Stafford and Geno Smith aren't the same kind of quarterback at all. If you look at what Stafford did last year for the Rams, it's a little flashier. It's a little more volume. He's certainly doing more, but he's also making more mistakes. But I think in terms of the level of quarterback play, it's similar. So you get Stafford, who is not elite, but he's very good. You stack the team around him, and in this case, it worked. You won the Super Bowl. It's also kind of like what the 49ers did with Jimmy Garoppolo a few years ago. And you guys know I am not a fan of Garoppolo. In fact, I think he's kind of bad, but I cannot deny that in 2019, when the Niners went to the Super Bowl, his numbers that he had that year were somewhat similar to what I'm talking about with Geno Smith, hypothetically. And the Niners almost won the Super Bowl. So it's not like this never works. You can find recent examples of teams going for the middle ground and winning. So it can work. It's not a bad idea. I want to stress that. I don't think this would be a bad idea to go, let's just go for the upper middle class quarterback. However, the question is not, is it good? The question is it optimal? That's what we're going to be discussing going forward, if Geno keeps it up. If Geno doesn't keep it up and turns back into old Geno, then, well, there's not going to be any conversation to have because nobody's going to want to actually make a big, fat, long-term commitment to a Geno. So if he keeps this up, that's the conversation we're going to have. Is it optimal to marry yourself to Geno Smith for 3 years at a $26 million a year rate approximately? It would actually be a little bit less because of how NFL contracts are backloaded. So here's what you give up when you do that. And here's the other side of it, because there's definitely an other side. All right, so when you get to the draft, if you look at the way rookie contracts are right now, because the rookie contracts are by and large predetermined by the NFL rookie salary scaling, the number one overall pick, if you look at the number one overall pick last year, Travon Walker, if you look at the contract that he got, 4 years, $37.4 million, basically. So we just got past $9 million a year for the number one overall pick. So it goes up a little bit. Maybe next year we're talking 4 years, $38 million. So you're getting these guys on, at most, because this is the number one overall pick, 4 years, $38 million, $9.5 million a year. That's still a lot less than the Geno contract I just tossed out there. Now, I know what people are going to say. No rookie is going to be better than what Geno is giving you right now. But here's the flip side of that. If Geno does this, what I just put up on the screen here, if Geno does this, and you re-sign him for that 4-year deal, and call it a 3-year deal because the last year probably won't be fulfilled one way or the other, you are hoping and praying that he maintains this level of play. If he maintains this level of play, you're very happy because he just turned 32 years old. I don't think anybody out there is thinking, oh, next year he's going to take the next step and he's going to throw 60 touchdowns and have 0 interceptions, and he's going to be Pat Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. No. Best case scenario, he's this quarterback for the duration of that contract. And honestly, given the fact that age is now becoming a consideration with him, I think most people would even take a little bit of a drop-off. And that would be fine, but here's what you lose. Josh Allen. All right, let's take a look at Josh Allen here. 3rd year of his career. Last year on his rookie deal. What does he give you? Almost 70% completion, 4,500 yards, like 500 yards rushing, I think. 37 touchdowns, 10 picks. Great season. Very, very comparable in terms of overall quality to the Geno season I just hypothetically threw out there. And what did Josh Allen cost the Bills in 2020? Let's go to overthecap.com here. Less than $6 million. So the Bills got a player who is probably a little bit better than Geno, hypothetical Geno, for a lot less because he was on the rookie deal. Lamar Jackson, another guy on his rookie deal. Still on his rookie deal, actually. What does he do in his 2nd year? wins league MVP. 3,100 yards passing, another 1,200 rushing. 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I think he had like 7 touchdowns rushing. Insanely good year. QB rating off the charts. Adds a ton of value as a rusher. Monster year. Probably a good amount overall better than what you got from Geno in my hypothetical scenario. And what did he cost that year? $2.2 million. Not even $2.2 million. You see what I'm getting at here? The upper level upside is lost to you. And let's keep going here, okay? Because it gets more extreme, okay? Pat Mahomes. Second year in the league. Look at these numbers. 5,100 yards, 50 touchdowns, wins league MVP, play away from the Super Bowl. 2019, not quite as good statistically, but still an elite season, wins Super Bowl MVP a couple months after the season ends. Both on his rookie deal. What did he make? What did he cost the team those 2 years? 3.7, 4.5. They got an MVP and Super Bowl MVP, arguably the best player in the league, for a grand total of just over $8 million over 2 seasons. Which is, what, a third? Not even a third of the hypothetical annual cost of Geno that I'm laying out here. Deshaun Watson. Let's keep going here, guys. 2018, great season. 68% completion, 4,100 yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 picks. Big year. 2019, not quite as good, but still really good. In the same ballpark as the Geno thing, as the hypothetical Geno season. And what did he cost those 2 years? Like $7 million combined? Not even $7 million combined. Goes on and on. Jared Goff. I know we all laugh at Jared Goff now, but 2017, really nice year. 105 QB rating. 3,800 yards. 28 touchdowns, 7 picks. Very Geno-ish. 2018, 4,700 yards. Monster year. 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, QB rating 101. In that same Geno-ish ballpark. And what did he cost for those 2 years, 2017, 2018? 6.3, 6.35, call it, and 7.6. So you're seeing very similar production in terms of overall quality of play from guys who are much cheaper because they are cuffed to those rookie contracts. One more. Let's do one more. Carson Wentz. Another guy we make fun of a lot now, but what did he do in year 2? Great year. Would have won MVP if he didn't get hurt right at the end. Won so many games and did so much good for that Eagles team, they were able to coast off of his title wave to a Super Bowl. 33 touchdowns in 13 games. Led the league in QBR. Led the league in touchdown percentage. Again, would have been league MVP if he didn't get hurt. What did he cost in 2017? $6 million, just over 6. So here's what you're losing when you commit yourself to Geno Smith with a season like this. You are missing out on the best case scenario top end upside. You're missing out on the opportunity to have an elite quarterback similar or better in some cases than Geno for a fraction of the cost. So that is the downside. You are basically accepting a B+ and not going for the potential of the A+. Maybe Geno's even an A-. Maybe. But you're not going for the A+ or the A++ in some cases because these guys are so cheap on those rookie deals. So that's the question. Are you willing to say goodbye to the possibility of getting a super duper star quarterback because you're content with your star quarterback? Because you know that when you draft, you can, of course, end up with the Blake Bortles. You can end up with the Josh Rosen. You can end up with the... Now, we're not there with Zach Wilson yet, but you guys know what I'm saying. There is a risk involved, but don't think for 1 second that there is not risk involved with committing yourself for the next 3 to 4 years to Geno Smith. It's a different risk. There are different parameters, different variables. Maybe there's some sort of balancing act you can come up with on that risk, but it's risk. It's just a different kind of risk. And because of that, as much as I like the way Geno's playing, and as much as I would be, at this point, if he continues to play like this, I would be cool with it. I would be totally fine with keeping him and marrying myself to him for the next 3 years. I think it's optimal to still say, look, I can get CJ Stroud for not even a half the cost, close to a third of the cost. And yeah, that rookie year, I might see a little bit of a drop off compared to what I could have gotten from Geno. But if I hit right, recent history shows me that second year quarterbacks blow up all the time. And I can get a player who is as good or better than Geno for a lot less. If I hit on Will Levis, if I hit on Hendon Hooker, if I hit on whichever rookie quarterback you like, whichever college quarterback you like, it doesn't really matter. The point is, do you want to risk it? Do you want to go for that home run swing of having the superstar quarterback making peanuts? Because Geno may be a star, but I don't see superstar or super duper star in his future. This is probably peak Geno. 32 years old, having this season. I don't think you bring him back next year and suddenly he's throwing 50 touchdowns like he's at West Virginia and he's winning MVP. I don't see that being a very realistic possibility. So that's the gamble. And it is a gamble. But believe me, both sides are a gamble. All right. So that would be my argument both ways. I think both ways can work. I think both ways have merit. I think the optimal way to go at this point is still try to draft the right quarterback. And I know there are going to be quarterbacks that don't work out, but you know what? Find the right one. Maybe it's not easy, but it's your job. Do your job. Don't take the guy who's going to be bad. Don't take the bust. Figure out who's going to be good. Figure out who's going to be good in your system and get him. All right, let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to kind of lay it all out there, and I want to make sure that people understand that while Geno is playing very well right now, there is a level above where he is playing right now that I don't think he can get to, and I don't think he'll ever be able to get to, that you can get to with a quarterback on a rookie deal. So that's what I got. I will see you guys later on today. Go Hawks, and that's the wrap on Geno Smith.